All right, so pro golf is changing. Last year we did our PGA Tour predictions because we were primarily PGA Tour fans, Caleb, and clearly still I would say as a product are more interested in the PGA Tour product. But we're gonna call this our pro golf predictions because a lot's changed in with the merger that's gonna happen eventually, probably bigger
If
names if I guess bigger names are going over to live, so it's kind of more of like, all right, let's take a step back for now. Let's just make It's January, a lot can change before the end of the year, so let's just call it a pro golf prediction show for now. And there's a couple categories that we're focusing our time on today, so we're going to predict who we have winning the four majors. Last year, I think we only had like one right each, and I don't think we picked the right tournament for that person. So we'll give ourselves a little more grace this time around. We're going to pick the PGA Tour Player of the Year. Our biggest regression, which Caleb nailed last year, and I was semi right last year as well. Most improved player or breakout player of the year that we're expecting. And again, that could be LIV, that could be PGA, whatever that may be. And then we'll just give our kind of final thoughts on the LIV and PGA Tour merger. So, Caleb, I'm going to give you the four. Which category should we hit first for these categories today?
Probably the one that I would consider myself to be most confident in.
Okay.
And we'll just go with the Open.
Okay. What are
So
you thinking?
Hovland, that's
Okay.
that's the one that I'm most confident in. With how he just tore up the course over there in Rome. Hopefully he won't take that much of a step back. But yeah, my guess for the Open is going to be Hovland.
Okay. Let's just go. Let's hit yours first. Let's hit all four of yours, and then we'll visit mine. So that's the most confident you're in. Let's take it to April. So Masters. Who do you got your eyes on for the Masters?
Because it's got to happen sometime. We're gonna go Max.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say
I
Rory.
Oh no, nope. I'm still on the Max train.
Okay.
Hopefully he can get it done. So that we can clip this later and say, hey, Caleb got this one right. So, but yeah,
We
I,
were the
I still
first
believe
ones to
in.
do it.
Yeah, I still believe in Max for sure.
Okay, so Max will win the first major of the year, and Hovland will win the last major of the year. In your opinion, both would be first-time major winners, even though both have impressive PGA Tour wins and other achievements throughout golf. So we had that last year. We had two first-time major winners last year. So curious to see where you go from here. So that would take us. Let's see, which one are you gonna go? PGA Championship or U.S. Open?
Let's go PGA Championship.
Okay.
I think JT is going to get it done in his backyard.
Okay. Okay. So JT gets it done, and then Louisville, Kentucky at Valhalla. And coming off a very interesting year, of course. Okay. And then the US Open.
Yeah, that's the tough one over in Pinehurst. Let's see. I mean, I feel like Scotty's the safest answer with that. I'm like I said, I'm not that confident in that one. Um, Pinehurst can be, a tough one for some guys, especially if they're not playing in form. So yeah, definitely least confident about that one, but I like my odds with Scotty.
Okay. Okay. So to recap, you have Max winning the Masters, JT winning the PGA Championship, Scotty winning the US Open, and Hovland rounding out the year with the Open. Which one are you? We already know you're most confident in Hovland. What player are you least confident in? Even if it's
Uh,
let's just call it a major. Like, take away the tournaments. These are your four major champions of the year. Who are you least confident in out of those four?
as much as it pains me, I would probably be least confident in Max.
Really? So JT over Max.
I just think he's fed up with how he played last year. Like he doesn't want that kind of year again. And I just think the motor that he can have is going to kick into gear again. And we'll see it come back to true JT form.
Okay. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. I'll get into mine now. I'll be transparent. I picked my 4 major winners. I didn't, in preparation, didn't tie them to a specific tournament, but that's the format that we have to do. I kind of wanted to force myself to be on the spot with this one. So I'll give you the 4 names first, and then I'll kind of match them to the tournament. So Scotty Scheffler, number 1. That's my most confident, I think, this year, being a major champion. Clearly had a lot of struggles with putting last year. Seems like there's maybe been some work done on that. If you take away the putting, if you even gave him like average putting last year, he has like one of the greatest seasons of all time on the PGA
Right.
Tour and just in general. He's always in contention. His name's always up there. He's already won a major, so he has some of that experience. So I'm putting Scotty as most confident. Number 2, most confident, and this may seem like a square pick, picking these 2, 1 and 2, but I'm going Jon Rahm. I think that the stigma that a LIV golfer would not be able to win a major has gone away with Brooks helping out there.
For sure.
And he will only play on probably a couple tournaments before, he'll only play in a handful of tournaments before. So it's not like he's going to be too out of it on that LIV schedule.
Right.
So Rahm, number 2. Rory. Now, I'm a fanboy. I love Rory
For
McIlroy,
sure.
one of my favorite golfers, right? I think he gets it done, but I think he gets it done when it's least expected, which I'll tie that to a tournament here in a second. And then this is out of left field. I don't think that you could guess this name if I gave you 5 guesses, Caleb. But I'm using my thought behind it is I never would have said Wyndham Clark, and I never would have said Brian Harmon last year. So I'm going Sepp Straka, my 4th major winner of the year.
Okay.
Okay, so that is
Okay.
I didn't want, Hovland was up there. Like I was thinking about maybe Spieth. Like I'm kind of throwing some of these names out that are kind of towards the top of the list. Maybe talk about Brooks, whatever. I'm like, no, I'm gonna pick a name out of left field that's good, has some experience, but isn't an expected major champion, I guess. So I'll say that. So Scotty, Rory, Rahm, Straka. I'll go Scotty Masters. Um, I'll go Rory PGA Championship. I'll go Rahm US Open. I'll go Straka the Open to end out the year. So
Okay.
Scotty, Rory, Rahm, and Straka to end it out there. So any pushback on those?
I am shocked about the Straka pick. I honestly figured you would have said like Ludwig Aubert. That's
Yep.
like that's the first name that popped into my head when you said that.
For sure.
And I was gonna like, yeah, I could probably get it. Like it's 5 picks. Like I can probably would have never gotten to
That's what
Straka.
I'm telling you. Yeah, I'm telling you, you'd never would have
I don't
guessed
even know if I could have gotten to Straka with like 10 picks.
it.
But yeah, I mean it happens, so you might as well.
Hey, these are just predictions, baby.
Have you sprinkled any units on that?
I probably should. I probably would. I probably
Just
will.
to
Something, right?
make it worth it,
Yeah.
make it like officially official.
If I'm going to put my name on the line on the
Yeah.
podcast, then I need to, maybe even if it's just a $1 bet. I'm sure that pays
Yeah.
like $100.
You might as well try to win a driver out of it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Which got close, but messed up. Okay, so major winners, we got that taken care of. All right, PGA Tour Player of the Year. Caleb, who do you have in mind for this?
I want it to be a USA guy. I obviously, if you've listened long enough, like I'm USA first for sure. But Hovland's just playing so well.
Yeah.
And with how close he got, with how close he got last year, I don't necessarily see him changing a whole lot. When I was watching the Century, they had mentioned about him and his coach splitting. And one of the conversations, I guess, that they had between the two was that his coach wanted to get him to the point where he did not need him. Now they didn't go into detail as far as like the timing of the split. So, or the rockiness of the split, I guess. So I guess it could have still been on not great terms, but when you have a coach that has a goal that says, I want to get you to the point where you no longer need me, um, I feel like that's setting him up in some way to be successful.
Yep.
And with the success that he had, at the end of the season with the Ryder Cup, um, I don't see that trailing off too hard.
Great pick. Was not my pick for it, but was definitely in consideration. I mean, hard to deny what he's been doing, and I think we'll have a very good year. But I am going to continue to lean into Scotty Scheffler on this again. He's young enough. I don't think he has enough scar tissue to completely veer him off his path. He seems to be, there is potential with this guy to be one of the greats if he, as he goes throughout his career. And I think this is, last year was maybe an off year for him in some ways compared to how the year prior went. So I think he gets back to it, and I'm going to say Scotty wins PGA Tour Player of the Year, which he was definitely in contention for this year. So, okay, opposite side of that. Now we'll extend this away from the PGA Tour and just kind of give it the entire pro golf landscape. So clearly would be factoring probably majors in and just everything, right? Like we don't really count live wins, but yeah, just someone that's not going to be in the limelight that was in the limelight and was having a good year last year. So Caleb, go ahead. Who do you think takes the biggest step back out of the top players?
Much to the dismay of UNT, I'm going to say Tom Kim. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, I mean, hey, you can, but
no, that's tough though, man. Because last year I did not want to be right, and of course it was the one thing that I was right about.
Of course,
which is unfortunate. Because we both like Rory. But yeah, I'm trying to think of I'm looking at the list of the guys that were at the Century tournament. So they've won before or they won last year to get themselves in that tournament. And as we know, it's super hard to win on the PGA Tour. So obviously these guys were doing something right to get them in there. But I mean, have we really heard much from Hideki in the last, couple months?
no.
And that's not I'm not taking shots at him by any means, but I don't know. Originally, I probably would have said Ricky, but Ricky ended up having a decent year. So,
Right.
I don't know. So only because he's towards the bottom of this list, I don't really know what else to do. And we haven't really heard from him based on, the last couple tournaments or so. So I'll say Hideki.
Okay.
But again, hopefully I'm wrong. I think if Hideki is playing well, it's good for the game. So, so yeah, we'll keep it there.
Well, hope you're wrong on that, but I do think, and I would consider him for it just based on how things have been going. I'm going to go a little higher profile on this one, and a little more, has had success recently, but has also had some struggles, not too far back as well. I think Brooks takes a step back. Now again, how do we measure that when he's on live? And there's questions on that format. He won a couple times, right, I believe, on live last year. He won a major championship. He was in contention for the Masters with Rahm. Again, it's hard to measure that compared to some of the others like a PGA Tour, Hideki. But I do think that maybe his name won't be in the opportunities that we do get to watch Brooks on the big stage. I think that there may be a step back from what there was last year. Hope I'm wrong. Love Brooks. He's one of the LIV guys that I really enjoy. One of my favorite golfers, but I do think that there may be a little bit of like, hey, wouldn't say he's completely back yet. But again, hope I'm wrong on that.
That's fair.
Okay. Most improved or breakout player. I'll just get ahead of mine because it is, I've already been open about it. I'm going Ludwig Aubert. He's going to have a great year. I don't know what that means as far as, I don't think he's going to necessarily win a major clearly based on my predictions, but I do think he gets a couple PGA Tour wins potentially. And I think he's just going to be a name to be reckoned with here before long. So I think he's going to have a bigger breakout season, be more of that guy that people recognize on major championship weekends and less of the guy that the golf sickos already know about. So you going to join me on that, or do you have somebody else in mind?
That was going to be my pick was Ludwig for sure.
Okay.
Especially if he can like dial in his drives. Like they didn't appear to be, all over the course by any means, but if he's hitting it that far and he's, moderately accurate, I mean, the data shows, thanks to Lou, like the closer you are to the hole, the better. It doesn't matter where you're at. So yeah, I think his power is just going to really come to light.
All right. We're both on it. Both be drinking the Kool-Aid, probably sprinkle some bets on him as well. And excited to see where that goes for old Ludwig Aubert. That starts with an A, by the way. Just a heads up.
And ends with a G.
And ends with, yeah, true. Okay. Final question, final prediction for 2024 pro golf year. Will LIV and PGA Tour merge? And give me an estimate of when you think it will happen. You can, give it a month. We'll just say pick a month. It doesn't have to be a day or week or whatever. Just give me the month that you think it'll happen, and if you think it will happen.
I definitely think it will happen at this point. And honestly, it's based off of Rory's comments. The last comments that he made, we both are not overly fans of LIV and, kind of how it came to be and all that kind of stuff. But, I mean, you ultimately do want the best players playing in every tournament. And I think if you continue on the divide, whether we like it or not, it's going to like disseminate golf in general. And we're going to have like subsets of tours. And then we're really going to get into like the boys club stuff where it's like, yeah, these 6 people are, playing in this tournament. And then 8 people are playing in this tournament. It's always going to be those pods. So I think ultimately you have to, which again, like I'm not a huge fan of, Greg Norman. That's been said. I think that goes for both of us, but somehow find a way to take Greg Norman out of it, and I'm more than okay. But yeah, I think they do. And I would probably, if I had to guess, say it comes in May. Everybody comes together and at the Masters and realizes like, hey, we had our guys there, you had the PGA Tour guys there. It works. This is how it can work. Hopefully Jay is either no longer a snake or no longer the commissioner of the PGA. I think that would also help. But yeah, I would say after some good conversations at the Masters, whether somebody has it, while they're there or shortly after, I think is when they get it done.
Okay. Well, I think they get it done, and I think that they get it done before the Masters. I think that they take care of business not too far into 2024. I'm gonna say February. I think that they give it enough time to maybe work some things out and maybe have an announcement at the Masters of kind of what things could look like. Maybe get some, Masters is the biggest stage in golf for a majority of people, and I think that that's the perfect opportunity to let some of it die down, let the merger actually happen, and give it some time to maybe tease some things while you're in Augusta, while you're with Fred Ridley and all of that. So I think it gets done. I think it gets done in February, and we'll see how things go from there. So those are our 2024 pro golf predictions. We will be revisiting these a few times throughout the year. Always check in right before the majors. Always check in right at the end of the U.S. or the British Open, and then always kind of check in to end out 2024. So